A few weeks ago, I was in Puerto Rico and I was walking up to a building, and it's a huge building, and my friend lives in the penthouse and he has 3 floors on it. And yes, there's an elevator in his place plus a rooftop pool. It is ridiculous. It's $15,000 a month. And as I sat outside, I was like, damn, this guy's rich. And he actually got rich off Ethereum, which we're gonna put a video out about him later and share how he got so rich. But what surprised me though was that he rents this place. And then he just moved from Vegas and he rented those places. So interesting that some of the richest people I know rent instead of buy houses, because I think that's what we're taught in our society. And it started making me reflect on what are the other things that rich people are doing that we'd be surprised about. So in this video, I'm gonna be sharing 10 surprising things you probably didn't think about that rich people are doing that maybe you can inspire for yourself. So number one, they rent their houses versus owning their houses. What they're looking at is what is my greatest rate of return and use of time, and less about the ego. So recently in Austin, I bought a over $2 million house. Maybe you'll come by and hang out with me one day. Because when we grew up, our parents were like, you gotta get a house and that's how you get rich. So it's interesting to talk to my rich friend in Puerto Rico and Ramit Sethi and a lot of these other friends of mine who don't own. And what you find out is a few specific things. Number one, look at your rate of return. So if you're putting down $50,000 on a house, what is the rate of return on that? Are you getting cash flow return or appreciation? What it turns out is if you took that $50,000 and put it in the stock market, or you put it in yourself in a business, or you put it maybe in crypto, you might actually get a better rate of return and you're better off renting. So number one, your rate of return might be higher by not buying. Number two is flexibility. So if you're owning stuff, you're kind of stuck with it. If you want to actually liquidate a house, it's not that fast versus hitting a button and you sell your stock. And three, peace of mind. So it was fascinating. He's like, I just don't want to worry about it. I don't want the mental tax of having to deal with the house. He's like, maybe one day I will. And so that was kind of a counterintuitive, surprising thing about my rich friends, that they like to rent their places, most of them, versus owning. Second thing about rich people that you'd be surprised about is that they shut the F up. They aren't talking about their business or how they're making money or trying to grow their following. My friend who I talked about, who's almost a billionaire, that's rich as F, he doesn't really use Twitter. He's not posting on Instagram. He's not making YouTube videos where it shows up in planes. He's actually doing it. And he doesn't want to make videos about it because he doesn't want people copying him or he doesn't want to get robbed. My suggestion for you is be wary of the flashiest people who are online that are showing off all their riches, because most of the richest people I know don't talk about it. Number three, most of the richest friends I have got rich doing just one thing. So I don't know about you, but me, I have a lot of different projects going on at the time. And the reality though is that if you look at the Forbes 100 list, almost all of them got rich off just one thing. So a story of that is my friend David Hauser. I don't know if you guys know him, but he sold Grasshopper.com to Citrix for $200 million. Now, David did a lot of different businesses, but he just did that, sold it $200 million, and now he can do whatever the hell he wants. So with you and your own projects out there, instead of being like, I'm gonna try a bunch of different things and see which one works, why don't you pick whatever's working the best and just go really hard on that? That's what the richest people are doing. Number four, this is really counterintuitive, is that they do investments to stay rich, not to get rich. Huh? So a lot of people, especially the Robin Hooders or the crypto kitties out there, they're going and dumping all their money in whatever's the hottest, latest trend. Maybe it's NBA Top Shot or maybe it's some new coin. And then they're like, oh, am I gonna get rich overnight? And the reality is that's gambling. So as with Damodoran, I highly recommend on YouTube. I got to sit down with him a few months ago in San Diego, and I said, how do you think about investing for the younger generation, for people like me and people like you that are just getting going? He's like, unless you were a professional, meaning that is all you do with your finances as an investor, look at investing as a way to stay rich, not as a way to get rich. And I thought that was a beautiful example that all of us can think of.
It's like watching a gambler, right? You watch a gambler in a Vegas casino. There are points in the night where that gambler is doing really well and is really rich. But guess what? You gamble long enough, you're going to end up losing everything you gain.
You can get rich in a job with stock maybe, or starting your own business, or working for someone that's rich. But as an investor, unless you're professionally doing that all day long, don't expect that to get rich.
And less is more. I mean, historically, the more activity there is on the part of the investor, the worse the returns are that investors have.
Number five, this is surprising. Most of the richest people I've ever met are not much smarter than you or me. But what they're willing to do is put in more time and suffer for longer. So let me give you a few examples to kind of really hone this in. And one of my favorite things is meeting people who get rich after a long period of time. So Beeple, everyone's talking about his NFT, sold for $69 million. Oh my God. Do you guys realize that for every day for 14 years, he posted an image? So for you, just do something for 14 years every single day. And yes, you can probably sell something for $69 million. Same thing goes like Buffer.com. These guys worked for years not having a lot of success. And eventually, years later, Buffer.com is now a $20 million business. So and another example is AppSumo.com. I did not really get a salary until about 6-7 years in. And then finally I could make 7 figures after really suffering and putting in the work, hiring the team and growing the business. So for you out there, as you are starting your company, expect it to take a long time. And as long as you do that, you will get a level of success. One thing I recommend is the law of 100. So if you're doing a YouTube channel or if you're doing emails or whatever it is, do 100 videos and keep improving each one. And by the 100th one, I promise you, you'll be further ahead than you expected and you'll have committed to it. And guess what? You can decide at that point how much further you want to take it. But success takes time. Number 6, none of them are selling courses. No rich people got rich selling courses. Only people that are getting rich selling you courses get rich. So the Grant Cardones of the world, the Ty could have been a scammer, Lopez, and all these people that CoffeeZilla and Spencer Cornelia are talking about, they're only getting rich flaunting their lifestyles, selling aspiration to people that want that lifestyle, but that's how they're getting rich. So don't follow the people that are getting rich selling courses. Follow either yourself or like the Bezoses and the Gates and the Zuckerbergs, or the people maybe even closer to you geographically that you can see what they're doing. The people that are rich don't sell courses and to explain how they do it because they don't want more people doing it. Yeah, a lot of people that are like selling you an FBA course on how to sell on Amazon, they're not making money on FBA at all. They're making money selling you the course. So just be really wary of people selling courses because the rich people aren't selling courses. This one is a little bit more of a sensitive one that I'm curious how people are going to respond to, which is they got lucky with great parents and being born to a great neighborhood. If you've ever heard Warren Buffett talk, he says like he literally is just one of the luckiest people on earth that he was born to his parents where he was born. And I honestly feel very similar. I was born in San Jose, California, 2 miles from the Apple headquarters. My stepfather's an engineer. My biological father's a salesperson. My high school happened to be one of the top in the country just coincidentally. It's not something my parents moved to. People in my high school sold their company to $1 billion to Cisco. Other people sold to Zynga. People are top executives at all the top companies today from my high school. So it's just luck. How do you fix that for yourself if you didn't get born lucky like I did? I feel very grateful for that. Hopefully one of you did too, be very grateful for yourself. But if you did not, how can you change your area geographically? Or online, how can you put yourself around more successful people? I know when I started out at Facebook early on, I felt like the stupidest person, and maybe I was, but put yourself in places where you're surrounded or you're assisting the smartest people possible. If you're surprised by at least one thing from this rich video, can you hit that like button? If you're liking videos where I explore things about rich people and other fun things going on in my life, let me know in the comments and make sure you hit that subscribe and notification bell. I really get excited interacting with you guys. So number 8, I think the rich people actually give back money-wise, but they give back less proportionally, and they take advantage of the system. So I give around $30,000 a year of my income to charities, which is around $2,500 a month. The reality though is that a lot of rich people don't give back and they figure out ways to take advantage of that. They're like, oh, how do I get out of the tax advantages that normal people just kind of accept? So what's the solution here for everyone else? One, it's always great to give back, and I want to encourage anyone, rich or poor, to keep giving. If you have more, give it. If you have less, ask for it. As well, give your time. Like that's something I'm working on and trying to get better at. It's like, how can I donate my time to help people like you on your own business journey? And 3, the tax loopholes. I just wish more people were educated and knew of investment opportunities plus tax advantages, which it's legal in the system. It's just people aren't educated about it. So hopefully you can go educate yourself to, save money or make more. Number 9, a lot of the richest people I know got rich doing really boring things. A lot of times when we're reading news articles, we're looking at like sexy tech companies like Notion, or Airtable. But the reality is there's a lot of rich people doing boring ass stuff. So I'm gonna tell you about a friend of mine. He started an e-commerce company about 10 years ago, and he was selling, get this, he's selling cat like toy shit. Like cats like jump around it and something. I don't even know what that is. And then he also sold valet stands. Valet stands, yeah, like the ones you go at a restaurant. And he made millions of dollars selling that business. It's not something you would really hear about or talk about, but I think the thing I wanna encourage you to think about is that be wary of all the flashy, sexy companies, because a lot of times it's selling lighting, it's doing restaurant, maybe it's doing power washing. You can get really rich doing boring things. So number 10, the richest people I know get rich not by saving to get rich, but by investing and spending to get more wealthy. One of the stories that really stuck out with me is how hard they go with that. So a friend of mine that lives in Puerto Rico that has hundreds of millions of dollars in Ethereum, he sent me this story, and I'm just gonna read the story because I thought it was so freaking wild. When I was living very frugally when I loaded up on crypto from 2013 to 2016, I didn't take any vacations for fun at that time. I lived with a roommate, we had rent control. I never went out, I hardly dated, I wore the same clothes, I just changed my underwear pretty much every day, and I had 2 pair of jeans at the time. He even repaired his shoes versus buying new ones. And for 3 years, he just did consulting, collected checks, and put 75% of what he earned into crypto. And so the richest people have taken the biggest risks, taken the most failures, and they get the biggest results. I think what I've noticed from a lot of people that aren't getting what they want or early on their business journey, they're afraid of failure. But the most successful people have taken the most fails. And they've also gone to the most extremes for what they believed in. This is a wild, I mean, the thing with the richest people versus you, if you're not at the level of wealth that you want to be at yet, these people are not better than you, they're not better looking than you, they're not more capable of you. They've just put in the work, and it's totally available for you to get it for yourself. If you want to watch a video about how I make about $1 million a year, you're going to love this video right up here as well. I'll see you out there, and I love you. Pew, pew!